Manchester United. Manchester United. This is a household name. This is a name that I grew up with. This is a legacy passed from my grandfather to my father to myself. And for 50 years, I've been supporting this club in thick and thin, never to slag any players or even thinking of slagging the manager, to be fair. But sometimes you need to call a spade a spade. You need to criticize, are you fit enough to wear the shirt? Manchester United, Manchester United, there was no men on that field, according to my opinion. There was nobody playing for the badge, this badge that I dearly carry every day in my heart, close to my chest, to be honest. What we saw today was either an overachievement, but it was a perfect opportunity for Erik ten Hag to display what it's all about, his footballing mentality, if we may say so. What happened? Of course, we can say that footballing gods was not on the side, that the game was lost already in the first game at Old Trafford, when we clearly was up 2-0 in the first half, and then the footballing gods and Lady Fortuna played us that misfortune with, a known missed goal of Harry Maguire and Malacia. But that's all done and dusted. There's nothing you can do about it. What you can do is to look at, is this players, or some of them at least, good enough to wear the shirt? Is there a massive summer clearance coming? It's hard to read Erik ten Hag what he wants, because as a manager, as a gaffer, your job is to protect, first and foremost, the team, the squad. And Ten Hag is not like a Jose Mourinho that will throw the players under the bus. But you can clearly see, and after the post-match reaction, that he was worried, deeply worried. We had a fair share of injuries, but that's not an excuse. We should have a squad deep enough that is on level, on par, that if somebody's injured, another one can pick up without even having that drop off, if you know what I mean. But it's never easy to sit here and do a post-match rant, but certain players needs to look themselves in the mirror, right? But also Erik ten Hag probably looked himself in the mirror today as well, to say, why did I do this? There's arguments to say that he could have started with a better team, right? The team that started today, on paper, looked good. But clearly, if we analyze the first and second half, we never got over the half line, to be honest. And why is it so, right? First and foremost, Diogo Dalot is a left back, right? What happened against Nottingham Forest was Nottingham Forest, but this is Spanish football we're playing at. It didn't work. Wan-Bissaka didn't work. Why? I feel like, in all fairness, they were like cotton wrapping Harry Maguire, protecting him, right? So therefore, it left a massive space in the midfield. It would be a different prospect if we had the normal centre back pairing in terms of Varane and Martinez. But it is what it is. Today we had to play with the old centre back pairing in Lindelof and Harry Maguire. And of course, Harry Maguire hasn't had many starts for Manchester United, and you might wonder why. It isn't clear and obvious that Erik ten Hag doesn't rate him. I don't like to slag players, but I'm sorry to say that is, in this instance, Harry Maguire needs to go, according to my opinion. I had enough. I had enough of certain players that are down tooling and not playing for the club. They're simply not good enough. The drop off is huge. It's huge. We need to have a massive squad depth in a way that if somebody's injured, the level of quality next to that person that's injured is good enough. It's almost competing toe to toe with that person that's injured, if you know what I mean. So, what should we do in this summer transfer window? Who should go? According to my opinion, There's a lot of players that have to look themselves in the mirror, to be honest. I would say, arguably say, with a big pause, that today's performance was painful to watch because it was a massive opportunity to advance to the semifinals. We saw Roma and Jose Mourinho manning up his crowd with a lesser squad, lesser expensive squad, and still qualifying, right? Why can't we? Why can't we? People might argue that, hey, we played 3 games a week per since December. Yeah, it's fine. Fatigue injuries do happen. But again, it comes down to the squad depth, right? I wouldn't say to go in and blame Erik ten Hag. I would say to blame the Glazers in a way. I know it's an excuse, but Erik ten Hag wasn't backed in the January window. We got a loanee of Sabitzer, who's been okay. Is for could it be? It's a good signing if we can keep him for 20 million as a squad player. What Weghorst, on the other hand, can't finish his dinner. Thank you for your loyal service, but you also have to go in the summer. That's my honest opinion. For me, it is like being sponsored or watching Men in Black. You just, by fair accident, take this rod, press the blink button, and forget about what happened today. But we can't. We have to learn from our mistakes. Like the 7-up against Liverpool. Where do we go from here? Big questions needs to be asked, according to my opinion. So, what can we say? I mean, it's hard. It's hard, people. But, if we look at the overall squad, let's say, who should we keep and who should we sell, right? Marcus Rashford will stay 100%. Anthony Santos had a better period. He's kind of improved as the season has progressed. I rate him highly. Anthony was actually the one out of all of them bunch that actually put in a shift, trying to make something to happen. Matthias Sabitzer looked a little bit lost today, but then he just came back from an injury as well. Martinez, injured. Harry Maguire, I'm sorry. You got to go in the summer. You got to be on the chopping block. And I'm saying this with conviction. I'm 100% convinced that Harry will be the one that goes. Why am I saying so? Well, you can clearly see on his playing time, he hasn't been given much playing time in Manchester United shirt. And for some reason, the communication between Harry Maguire and the backline does not work. There is a broken link of communication, even with De Gea. We've seen it numerous time and time again. That whenever he's playing, there's some certain insecurity. I find it sad because the Harry that I knew that was playing for Leicester and plays for England is a totally different Harry than we had today. It feels like we bought the pig in the bag, and the pig just stank up the whole place when he came to Carrington. Rantly speaking, Casemiro, what a god, what a performer. Totally transferred the team. Bruno Fernandes, I feel that people need to lay down on a little bit of the criticism about Bruno Fernandes, who's been there in thick and thin, never missed the game, never had an injury. And today he had to sit it off unfairly because he had the second yellow. And we saw that today, Bruno Fernandes, we lost the game because of Bruno. He wasn't there. He was not there to spray the passes, to be that register. Some people call it Hollywood passes. Some people say he might pay off. He's a risk, is a calamity. But surely when Bruno plays, we actually have some service. Because don't matter if you have fast wingers and tricky wingers like Dos Santos, like Martial, like Rashford, if you ain't going to get any service. Alejandro Garnacho, for me, is the one that will take on the reins because we need to talk about Jadon Sancho as well. I think for me, I've been patient enough, but 2 years without Jadon Sancho hitting his peaks, I think that leaves a question mark. Will he be on the chopping block in the summer? Will we cash in? Is Jadon Sancho the player that we thought we bought? I don't know yet. I'm not convinced. I'm not really convinced. Weghorst, 100%, will not stay in the summer, according to my opinion. De Gea had a stinker today. I backed De Gea in thick and thin. He's been our club legend. He's saved us so many times. But today, he was not at the races. I would say that nobody was at the races. Martial, I think the jury's out. I love Anthony Martial. Don't get me wrong. He came there as a teenager at the club at age 17, but Martial, his injury record simply doesn't add up. Some people call it cheese string hamstrings. Some people call it laziness. But I just don't think that he's fit enough to stay at the club. I think it's time to look for a better striker, or at least keep him as a number 2 choice. But the question begs, will he accept it? Because we've seen Anthony Martial, as soon as he's got some competition, he's down tooling and sulking and not hitting his peaks. Now, Facundo Pellistri, on the other hand, is something very, very exciting for the future. Oh, he hasn't seen much game time. Should we borrow him? Should we let him on the loan? 100%, I think so. Raphael Varane as well. God, what a defender, what a Rolls Royce. But also, we need to look at the market to bring in a replacement as well for Raphael Varane, somebody at his Elke's level, because as soon as he's injured and missing, that drop off is huge. I like Victor Lindelof, but Victor Lindelof is not the centre back ilk of Raphael Varane. But I rather keep Victor Lindelof and ship off Harry Maguire, to be honest. Fred, maybe keep, maybe sell. Fred is a good fringe player, according to my opinion. It's good to throw in the second half. Luke Shaw definitely stays. Kobe Mainu, youngster, still to be embedded in next season. It's too early, right? Wan-Bissaka, for me, well, the jury was out in January. Everyone wanted to get rid of Wan-Bissaka. But Wan-Bissaka has turned it around this season. I think Wan-Bissaka is good to be kept as a right back. But we need to get in more quality. We need to get in, I don't know, just give me any name that you can think of. Some people call him Jeremy Frimpong. I don't know. You tell me. Let me know in the comments below, who do you like to bring in as a right back. Dalot, I like Dalot. 100% I like Dalot. But he's still not there yet. Is he the answer? Yeah, he's very good in going forwards and improving. He's an athlete. He's got mentality. Yeah, he will stay. Tyrone Malacia, what a bargain. We bought him for what? 13 million euros. He's definitely staying, right? As a backup to Luke Shaw. Scott McTominay, on the other hand, I think it's time to cash in on Scott. 27, 28. He still feels like he's one of the youngsters, right? But Scott needs to go as well. If we can get 25, 30 in the summer, let him go. 100%, 100%. Anthony Alanga, I don't see any reason. I know, I love you. You're Swedish. I'm Swedish too, by the way. I would love you to go on a loan or be sold, right? But if you stay here in the first team, you're just perishing. You're not developing. Donny van de Beek, on the other hand, it's been so misfortune under United's career with injuries and not being utilized. And why did we buy him for 35 million back under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer? If you're not going to keep Donny van de Beek, at least sell him back to Ajax. But I think that Erik ten Hag likes Donny, and if he's not back from his injury, we cannot sell him anyway. So maybe there'll be a chance for Donny next season. Brandon Williams, on the other hand, has to go as well. Another player that's not getting a sniff in the first team. Another deadwood, according to my opinion. Victor Lindelof, we already mentioned. I will keep Victor Lindelof for sure. The rest is youngsters, keepers, subs that I don't really know. But another one that I think should come in as well, according to my opinion, in next season. Guess who? There's been a few good players that's been ripping up trees. We're talking about Amad Diallo at Sunderland. But that's for next season, right? How do we move from here? Where do we go from here now? All right. We're clearly out of this competition. We won a silverware. That's good because we haven't won a silverware for 6 years. So we actually overachieved. But this season for me was never about winning a trophy. If we got top four, that's good enough return on investment. For me, it was about the rebuild, to watch Erik ten Hag, what he's all about and won his ball. And we're all waxing lyrical about Erik ten Hag, so please don't blame Erik ten Hag for the mistakes today. We are moving forward. We're also looking to get new owners in to back the manager, to give us the right funds so Erik ten Hag can start painting his Picasso. Obviously, he started fresh with a blank piece of canvas. He tried many combinations. He slapped in paints. He did some brush strokes everywhere. He saw what was mixing good and what was not. And suddenly, today, he saw that some paint on that painting was falling off and was not worth keeping on that canvas. We have to go to bounce back on Sunday because Brighton is not a pushover. Brighton has been showing a great run of form lately. And with this injury and with this mentality that we saw today, that was not Manchester United. This was another Liverpool performance that we came up lethargic. We looked like we never ticketed into Sevilla. We looked like we still left our brains back in Manchester. And maybe we're a little bit overconfident that we will go there and finish off Sevilla. We will finish off, go home to Manchester, finish off that dinner, go home to Manchester, have a fish and chips, and happy days. That didn't happen. But we do have a chance on Sunday to redeem ourselves. I'm really looking forward for the bounce back and to see how the players will react, to be honest. Sunday is very, very important as we're playing at Wembley. It's a neutral ground for both Brighton and Manchester United. Will the players bounce back? We tend to have a tendency to do so whenever we gone on a brain fart loss. I just hope that this is the case. I really do. It's never easy to do a match reaction show when we lose, but I owe it to the fan base and I owe it to myself and I owe it to my heart as well. Because win, lose, draw, this is my club. This is what I love and I want us to win again. I hope we will bounce back on Sunday. It's Mick Ruby, Mufc Realist TV, signing up. Please be nice to each other on social. Have a good sleep, and we see you soon on Sunday. Bye for now. Thank you so much for stopping by and watching Mufc Realist TV. Don't forget to like and subscribe and follow us on the socials.